This is a free download from the BBC. For more information, go to bbc.co.uk/podcasts.
Right, I've got to subtly do some links for this podcast. You won't notice we're doing them. Kelly, what do you want me to say?
So can you do the intro to it? So, hi, iainlee, thanks for downloading my podcast. It's free. Lots of interesting bits coming up. You know how you can save it on your computer and then it's there. You can save it and stuff. Can we
just... My voice, is, as you know, is my fortune. Can we just use what you just did then?
I'd rather you do it. Just do a quick hi, thanks.
Hi, thanks.
Yeah, I could do something
You
like
can
that.
you come up with that?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then when's it coming out?
So this will be out Friday, midday.
Beautiful. I look forward to tweeting about that. Thank you. There you go. You see? I don't think that ruined the flow of the show. I don't think we've contravened any Ofcom regulations by doing that.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Look, got some cracking stories. The peasants thing is going to be a winner. Legal highs, we did it last week. We've got some superb, exciting news on how that story has moved forward. Partly, I believe, due to us talking about speeding. Great. What we haven't got, I think you'd agree with this, Catherine, what we haven't got is anything for the listener to call in about or talk about on Facebook.
Yes.
We haven't really got anything like that, have we?
No.
So I was wondering if we could put this out to the listener.
Oh, dear.
Have you, dear listener, got anything that you could phone... Hang on, Have you got an idea for something that I can say on the radio that you can then phone in about? Does that make sense?
Is that the phone-in or is that the pre-phone-in?
That's the pre-phone-in phone-in. The phone-in will then become the best thing that they suggest that people can phone in about.
Okay.
Aha, you see? So what we need, 08459 455
is
555.
ideas.
Ideas for things that people can phone in about. Then we will put that on Facebook and people can then also phone in about it. Maybe we'll send Justin out to do a Vox on it as well. I mean, I can hear straws being clutched, definitely, but... What are you laughing for, Bets? You came in 30 minutes late. Have you got any better ideas?
15 minutes late.
And get this, dear listener, get this. The reason... Oh, my goodness. Just go round and kneel in front of it.
Oh,
right. Go to Catherine's.
Oh, no, you're not using mine.
The reason you were late, Kelly Betts?
I forgot I left my car here, so I opened my door and my car wasn't there.
There's the phone-in.
When did you forget Kelly Betts' car?
Losing your car.
No.
Forgetting where you've put it.
That's not going to work,
Trying to get in someone else's.
Is it?
Yeah, people have done that.
Is that going to work? OK, so you set that up and put it out.
Comedy car moments.
Oh, no.
Oh, I like that one.
No.
Yeah.
Comedy car moments. We will get no calls on that. We'll get one call on that, and it'll be Dennis, and it'll be boring.
I once tried to drive away from a well-known toy shop with a load of things piled up on top of my car. That was hilarious.
Was it Toys R Us?
Yes.
OK.
And it was sugar paper.
OK. 08459 455 555. What is it? Comedy car...
Moments.
Comedy car moments. We will get no calls on that. The subject of speeding. It's Peter in Walmer Green. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Peter, we've not spoken for ages. Where have you been?
I've been on other stations, actually.
Sorry?
I've been on other stations.
Why?
I lost interest in some of it, but that's on there, basically.
What bits did you lose interest in?
Oh, well, it's various things, anyway.
Well, listen, because it's your BBC, right?
Yes,
so if you tell us where you lost interest, we can see if we can make sure you don't lose interest again.
Well, I just feel that, basically, we're not altogether getting the truth anymore, the whole truth.
Oh, well, where do you think the BBC...
It's very difficult to place it, put a finger on it immediately without... looking back on what I've heard and listened.
And is that the BBC in general, or is that me, or is that this station? What do you think?
Parts.
Parts.
You can't specify really, but it doesn't seem to ring. I've got great faith in the BBC.
Yep.
I believe that they should be telling it as it is.
Yes.
Not as they think it might be.
Right.
Or in their own mind what it might be.
Yep.
Just as it is.
Okay.
We are the only people who I can find that should be totally independent.
Right,
but yet I don't get that.
But yet you've been listening to other stations. What other stations have you been listening to?
LBC, Radio 5 Live. Several. You know?
Yeah. Have you been listening to Heart?
No.
Good.
Too much music for me.
Too much music. They're my nemesis. As long as you've not been listening to them, I don't mind. You can listen to the others, although LBC has gone downhill in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Peter, you've called in about speeding. Have you got any sympathy for these people who've been caught with the average speed cameras?
No, I strongly believe that we should be more strict on speeding.
Go on.
Because it kills a lot of people. And I think that anyone who's been caught for speeding in 3 years 3 times, they should be banned for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
I don't think there's any other choice because they're obviously not taking any notice of the first or second one. And if they've done it 3 times in 3 years, they should be banned for 5.
I'd have been banned this year then.
Pardon?
I would have been banned this year then.
Well, then that would be personally down to you, wouldn't it?
These people, Peter, they're saying in this village, they're saying, well, hang on a second, it's not fair. These cameras, the sign that says they're average speed cameras, it's not particularly well hidden. I was only doing 38 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone.
Well, then they're going 33% nearly faster than they should have been.
Well, you're right. Peter, listen, how can we make ourselves more honest here at BBC Three Counties Radio?
Well, I think you should tell the stories as they are. But, I mean, we know there's lots of things going on that's underneath, semi underneath the surface.
Yeah, permission to speak freely and tell it as it is.
Absolutely, that's your job.
Can I speak freely now and tell it as it is?
Yeah.
I think you're being paranoid.
Oh, you think so?
Well, speaking freely and as it is, I think you are. I'd love it if you could think. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'd love it if you could think of an example where you think we've been hiding the truth.
Well, lots of the stories that come out, we know there's lots of policies, if you like, that are coming out very quietly. No one knows. No one's listened to about them.
Yes.
For instance, the privatisation parts of the NHS.
Yes.
They've caused quite a number of deaths. Now, no one spoke about them. It's never been talked about.
No, hang on. We've talked about deaths and things. There's a thing in the front page of.
I'm talking about the private companies that have been incorporated into the.
But there was a thing on the front page of it. Was it either the Times or the Observer yesterday about a huge number of unnecessary deaths in hospitals? There have been no deaths in Beds, Herts and Bucks, possibly 1 or 2 that we are aware of, and the ones that have happened.
Gracious me! Now, apart from deaths, there's been blindness as well.
Okay. Where? Obviously, don't mention any places. But how do you know about it and we don't?
Well, I've had eye treatment, right?
Right.
And I've heard from other patients and I've heard from other relatives of different people.
Okay.
I got a second opinion. I'm now under Moorfields.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're doing an excellent job.
Right, so I know quite a bit about that.
Okay, but when you said that people have gone blind, not at Moorfields, but people have gone blind. Where and when?
Not having their appointments made, on time.
You know, Peter, you know someone who has gone blind because their appointment was not made on time.
Not as a person.
Not as a person. You see, they would have to be a person for it to be a story.
Well, I'm afraid not every story, unless you investigate it, comes to light, and there's lots of things that don't come to light.
Well, apparently, but yet you don't know of any of these stories. This is the thing, you see. We can't have anecdotal evidence. We need facts.
I'm sorry, but I don't believe you can call that paranoid when you go to an eye clinic, right?
Yes.
And the patient is supposed to have their notes given to the ophthalmologist.
Yes.
And they're given a sheet of paper, and the ophthalmologist says, I can't deal with that. I don't know what's wrong with this patient.
Okay. And that's happened to you, is it?
Dangerous.
Has that happened to you?
No, to 2 people in front of me.
Okay.
So, and I was offered a change of drops, which put me on drops that I was taking up the same sort of ingredients that I was taking up years ago.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact that I did the right thing by getting a second opinion.
Peter.
And they said, you mustn't change.
Peter, with the greatest respect, you changing your eye drops, without being rude, it's not really a lead on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, sorry, I'm not saying that.
No,
Did I say that?
No, but the story about someone going blind because they've missed an appointment, that is a story, but you're saying you've heard that, but you don't know who it happened to.
Well, you could put inquiries out over the air.
To whom?
over there, just generally.
Okay, let's put it out.
You've got a chance.
Have you gone blind because you had an eye appointment cancelled? 08459 455 555.
That's fine. But that's the sort of a journalism now that makes sense.
Well, Peter, I appreciate your comments and your constructive criticism, and hopefully we'll get lots of calls flooding in from people who've gone blind because they've missed an eye appointment.
Yeah, okay.
And when we win a Sony Award, I'll mention you in my speech.
I don't know how many lots you're going to get, but I do know there has been some.
No. Peter, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Listen, it's your BBC.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
How many phone calls have we had about car crazy moments, Catherine?
Crazy comedy car moments.
OK, how many?
Well, so far I've lost count.
I can see the phone system. Not one of those lines is lit up.
Crazy comedy car capers.
08459 455 555. It ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. Ah, dear. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. If you have something better that we can talk about, then please, I don't want to sound desperate, but this morning we're really, really struggling. Talking about legal highs. Legal highs were available for sale openly in Milton Keynes market. They aren't anymore, partly due to this show. Well, surely it's a day to rejoice and be happy. Not according to Andrew in Copel. Morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Ian.
What would you like to say, sir?
Well, I'm afraid that I don't know about bias there in your show, but there's a lot of hypocrisy going on.
Go on.
Well, I called you, I don't know if you recall, a few days ago when the firemen were going on strike, when the bonfire parties were occurring, and you accused me of being a killjoy.
What did I say?
You said I was a killjoy because I said that the firemen had the right to go on strike, and you said it was putting children in danger.
Yes.
So,
okay. Right, yes.
You're being killjoys now about these legal highs. If they're legal, they're legal.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you campaign against things that are much more dangerous, that are legal highs, like alcohol? I mean, when was the last time you heard someone that was out of their mind on methadone or any of these other legal highs, drove a car and killed someone? And yet you hear it all the time, people on alcohol.
Andrew, can I ask you a question?
Oh, you can ask me a question.
It links into the talk about bonfire night and this legal highs. Why are you so keen on allowing children to harm themselves?
I'm not keen on allowing children to harm themselves. I was defending the rights of firemen to strike.
OK, on a night when people will be having fireworks.
Responsibility.
On a night, just to clarify for people who missed it, you were keen for firemen to strike on a night when people will be having fireworks and bonfire.
I wasn't keen on firemen to strike. I'm never keen on that. But that would be ridiculous.
That was their right.
I was keen on defending their right to strike.
So you were defending their right to strike.
Should have the responsibility of their children.
So you were defending their right to strike on a night when children will be near fireworks and fire, and now you're defending the right for children to take dangerous legal highs. I'm very confused about your perspective, Andrew.
Put words into my mouth.
You just called me a killjoy.
You're being a killjoy there. These are legal things. There are much more dangerous things.
They are very... Well, there are.
But they are... campaign against, alcohol, which is much more dangerous.
Andrew, we don't know how dangerous these legal highs are because they have... Some of them are fine, I'm sure. Some of them are very, very dangerous. I think it's very strange for you to call me a killjoy for wanting to protect young people. It's odd.
No, I'm calling you a killboy because you're going against these things. You called me a killjoy. You're calling them a killjoy. I mean, these things, it's the very fact that they are legal that tempts people into it. So,
Hey, no, listen, it's fine. Andrew, no, actually, now I think about it, you're right. Yeah, we should let young people go to markets in Milton Keynes and buy all kinds of weird plant food and weird chemical agents that have been made in China and Russia, and we should just let them smoke them and snort them. No, you're absolutely right, Andrew. I hadn't thought of that, even though some of them are cut with glass.
You're twisting around what I'm saying. You're campaigning against it.
What are you saying,
there are things that are much more dangerous. Why don't you campaign against them?
Well, maybe we'll move on to that next, but,
we don't move on to it next because there's too much big business interest in it.
We're not going to...
You're part of the media which supports these things because you are biased towards them. There's never big campaigns against...
Biased towards who? Alcohol?
Tobacco and alcohol, is there? When was the last time you heard a big campaign against that? There's all these sensational documentaries about things like heroin and that.
The last 9 years of my life have been a campaign against alcohol, Andrew.
I've never heard you campaigning against it, Ian.
Well, no, because it's a private campaign, to be honest.
Well, no, I mean,
what am I going to do?
You're scared to put it out on the media because you're part of this big media machine.
What?
You can do it as much as you like in private.
Scared
to
put what out?
To do it. You wouldn't keep your job, Ian, quite frankly.
What am I scared to do about alcohol? I'm not
scared to campaign about it. You don't talk about it because there's too many big business interests. And if you started a campaign on this programme about alcohol...
To do what? To ban alcohol?
No, not to ban it.
What do you want me to do?
To restrict it. You'd be out of a job. You'd be getting P45 within days, Ian. I'm sorry, you don't do it because of that. I mean, you may campaign in private.
Andrew,
what's the point of that? That's not campaigning,
gosh,
is it?
You talk about conspiracy theories and paranoia. What can I do? A bloke who used to be a comedian on television, I now present a local radio breakfast show. What can I do to campaign against alcohol?
You've sold out, Ian. You were much more daring in the past.
I was young and I didn't have a mortgage and 2 kids to feed. I'm 40 now and I've got a huge mortgage and I want to feed my children.
Yeah, but you're still a bit irreverent on Channel 5, aren't you, when you're on that...
When I'm talking about Big Brother, yes. When I'm talking about those idiots on Big...
Yeah, but why don't you adopt that same attitude and go after these things while you're on air? Because you're frightened of getting your P45, aren't you?
Well, no, I won't get... I don't understand what I'm afraid of doing. What, saying that alcohol is bad? What?
No, but doing a campaign against it. You wouldn't do that, would you? I mean, you're perfectly happy to go after these things which are actually legal. It's the same as alcohol is legal, but there's been no harm caused. Has there been any instance of someone dying from
listen, I have to move on, Andrew. I'd love to talk to you for longer. I'm not cutting you off because I'm censoring you because I'm part of the big media machine.
You better not be.
OK, but I have to move on. Call in again this week. We'll have a bigger talk about it. But yes, there have been lots of incidents of people being injured. Catherine, I told you this wouldn't be a goer. We've got no call.
Fader 1.
Oh. Yes, line 1. Who's this? Yes, you.
Hello.
Who's this?
How are you, Ian? It's Stephen the Milkman.
Stephen the Milkman. Have you called in to tell Catherine Boyle how ridiculous her crazy car moments thing is?
No, I've come to her rescue.
Oh, why? Go on. What's happened?
It goes back a few years. Me and my mate were going to a party. So I was going back to my house to pick up a bottle, and he hadn't a bottle. So as I'm going to my house, there's an off-lights on the corner. So I stopped and dropped him off. He got out, went and got his bottle. I went round to my house, picked up my bottle, come back round. As I'm pulling into the lay-by opposite the shop, I see him getting in the car in front.
What?
So he got in the wrong car.
Has he?
Yeah.
How long did he stay in the wrong car for?
Not for long. It was lucky that people he got in the car with he knew, so it wasn't so embarrassing. But there you go.
Well, Steve, I don't know if you've rescued Catherine there, or if you've just embarrassed her terribly. It's not the greatest story that we've had, Catherine, is it? It's not the best one.
Good. It was excellent.
Was that all we've had? Just that one?
Just what we wanted.
Anything else?
Yeah, line Fader 2.
Oh, hello. Who's this?
Hello.
Hello. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Clary.
Hello, Clary.
Hello.
Oh, that's an amalgamation of 2 names you don't often hear. Clary, what would you like to say?
I've got a crazy car story, actually.
OK, let's hear it.
One day I opened my door and my car wasn't there. It's gone.
Sorry? You opened... What? Your car door?
My house door.
You opened your house door and your car wasn't there. What had happened?
I'd left it at work.
Hey, is that Kelly Betts?
No.
That's Kelly Betts, isn't it?
Clary.
Clary's
That's
not
a real name.
It's not a real name. And why can't I see Kelly Betts in the studio next door? What's going on?
I'm here.
OK, Clary?
Yes.
Busted! Right, Catherine, that is rubbish. You've had one call from Steve the Milkman. And Clary...
Bye.
Thanks for calling, Clary. Bye. Kelly, stop it.
I think it's because we phrased it wrong. Car confusion. 08459 455 555.
Now, residents in Welwyn Garden City say they'll fight their council over plans to build a £4 million extension. Welwyn Hatfield Borough Council, which is based in a conservation area, wants to erect a glass structure to make their offices bigger, but residents say it's not in keeping with the area and there should be a full public consultation. Well, earlier on, we spoke to Sean O'Reilly, chairman of the Welwyn Garden City Society. Here's what he had to say.
We have now been approached by a number of residents, including architects, who have come out with a proposal which would meet the council's own legal planning rules and possibly meet their own objectives.
So that's Sean O'Reilly who's got a proposal. I'm joined now by John Dean, leader of the Welwyn-Hatfield Borough Council. Morning, John. Would you be prepared to look at Sean's proposal?
No, we've got our own plan, Ian, and it's been out for consultation now for over a month.
You wouldn't be prepared to even have a look at it? You wouldn't be prepared to even have a look at it? That seems a bit dismissive and dare I say it, a little bit arrogant.
To be quite honest, we have consulted with the Welwyn Garden City Society. We've altered our original plan to some of their suggestions, and we understood they were reasonably happy with what we'd come up with.
No, they're not. They're very unhappy with it.
Well, yes, I know, but that's... I'm afraid that's the Welwyn Garden City Society. I mean, they've put out a consultation document which, quite honestly, is just full of wild exaggeration.
You wouldn't be prepared to look at their plans, just as a matter of courtesy?
Well, of course, we'd look at their plan as a matter of courtesy,
so
but it's too late to change our plan.
So if we put you in touch with Sean, you'll look at his plans. That's
we
great.
are in touch with Sean all the time, actually.
Okay, that's fantastic. It's not in keeping with the area, is it? You're not adhering to the rules that you enforce on the residents of Welwyn Garden City?
Well, we are, actually. I mean, that's one of the falsehoods of the Welwyn Garden City Society's statement. They've said that the building that we're putting our extension on is part of the estate management scheme. It's not.
But it's
it
not
doesn't come into the estate management scheme.
Why does it not come into the estate management scheme that dictates that residents have to build extensions of a certain size and of a certain style and of the same colour brick? Why are you exempt from that?
It's because it's a public building and it just doesn't come into the area that is under the estate management.
OK, excellent. We're getting somewhere, John. So you're exempt from that, which is great. But that means that you are agreeing that it doesn't fit in with the current design.
No. Well, I'm not agreeing with that at all, actually.
So it does fit in with the current design?
Well, because our modified design does fit in as well as it can.
No, John, no. I'll stop you there. Okay. As well as it can. So it doesn't fit in, does it? And you know it doesn't fit in. And it would imply it's one rule for the residents, yet the council, we can do what we want. We're the council.
No, that's completely unfair. It's the part of the design is from necessity anyway, because we have to have, because of where the building is, where the structure is going to be built, it needs to have extra light, and that's why we've got a glass front.
Maybe, I don't know, you could buy a light?
Well, you know as well as I do that the use of natural light is the most important thing when you're dealing with staff.
No, it's not, John. It's not the most important thing when you're dealing with staff. It's good people management, and it's not wasting people's money. Why can't you buy some lights instead of building a huge structure made out of glass?
It's not. Actually, you've got it all wrong, Ian. It's not that the whole structure is built of glass. The front has a certain amount of glass.
What's the percentage of glass in this new structure?
It's only the front.
What's the percentage of the glass in this new structure?
Probably, we're only talking about the front end.
What's the percentage of glass in this new structure?
I suppose we're talking about, 20% maybe?
OK, and what's the percentage of glass in the previous structure?
There wasn't a previous structure, Ian.
Okay.
This is a new extension.
And what's the percentage of glass in all the buildings surrounding that area?
I wouldn't know. I haven't measured.
No, you haven't, John, but you know... You could use your eyes, because you know that it's not in keeping with the style of the buildings around it. So it is one rule for the residents.
Have you ever been to the Palace of Westminster? One of the oldest structures.
What on earth has that got to do with it? Is that in Welwyn Garden City, is it, John?
They've used glass on the front of their structure as well.
Is that in Welwyn Garden City? Does that have to adhere to the rules that the residents of Welwyn Garden City have to? I don't think so.
I've already told you, Ian, that
you're exempt.
The building we're talking about...
You're the council.
The building we're talking about doesn't come under the estate management scheme.
Because you're the council?
It doesn't come under...
Because you're the council?
No. There are many buildings in Welwyn Garden City that don't come under the estate management.
You can understand why residents who've had their extension plans scuppered would feel aggrieved, can't you?
No,
really?
I can't understand that. I mean,
really, John, there's a real... I don't want to be rude to you, because you sound like a fairly decent bloke, but there's a real sense of arrogance coming from the council on the subject of this. If you can't even empathise with people who've had to stick to strict building regulations in your area, That does seem a little bit arrogant, doesn't it?
But we do emphasise, and that's why we've gone out to consultation. You know, out of all the complaints we've actually had, or the remarks we've actually had, the majority come from the Welwyn Garden City Society. The Welwyn Garden City Society want to see Welwyn Garden City stay exactly as it is forever.
How much is this costing?
It's the whole structure is costing $4 million.
Wow.
But it is saving a lot more than that.
Good spend, John, when everyone's...
Sorry, you've got to let me finish, Ian. The building that we've got to vacate is costing us £215,000 a year.
OK, so that would be so that's 4 years, 8 years. So that's about 17, 18 years you make your money back.
Oh, no, much quicker than that.
Well, it's £215,000 a year. And this is costing you £4 million. So, yeah, it's about 17, 18 years for you to make your money back.
No, you're not getting the whole picture, because the extension is also going to house a council chamber, which we are vacating from another building.
So how much does that cost a year, the council chamber?
No. It's not a question of that. It's the income we're going to gain from it.
OK, how much income are you going to gain per year?
We have the business plan tells us that we're likely to make about another £200,000 per year from that.
OK, so we're looking at 8 or 9 years to make it back. Good investment?
That's a good investment.
When in times of austerity, when people are cutting back, you think that 8 or 9 years is a good investment?
I think that's an extremely good investment. To bring £215,000 back into the council, rather than having to rent another building, I think is an extremely good investment.
Over 9 years?
A good investment.
Over 9 years you make the money back?
Most bankers would love to see that kind of return.
John, OK. But you don't have any sympathy for those people that are disappointed with your plans?
I do indeed, and that's why we've listened to them.
And not really done very much?
And altered our plans to try to placate, to try to fall in line with what they want.
OK.
We have done that.
I'll put this out there. I don't want to embarrass Catherine Boyle. She's someone I've got a tiny bit of respect for. But I put it out there. What is it? Crazy moments that you've had in your car?
Car confusion, call me now.
It keeps changing.
Car confusion, call me now. 08459 455 555.
You need consistency. So, what are we settling
Car
on?
confusion, call me now.
Should we put it on the Facebook page?
Yes.
OK, there we go. So, crazy car moments.
Car confusion, call me now.
Shall we have a quick look at the front page of the newspapers? Yeah, why don't we do that? What with our guests not being there and stuff? Yeah, let's look at the front pages of the newspapers, the Daily Telegraph. Here is my girl in pearls, says Prince. As guest editor of Country Life magazine, it fell to the Prince of Wales to choose a girl in pearls. Oh, for goodness sakes, have these people got any idea what's going on in the world? And the choice was simple. He's chosen a picture of Camilla. Do these people, the Country Life magazine, girl in pearls, do you know what's going on in the world, you lot? I like the royal family, but I'm going off them by the moment. Two-tier A&E is 100 units cut care. Most to deal only with less serious injuries under radical reform of emergency services. Oh, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at this. Matt is brilliant. You know Matt, the cartoonist? He is brilliant. He's won an award, apparently. It really... He says... He draws what we're all thinking. He's drawn two scorpions on a beach. And he's written some words underneath, which are very, very funny. Coincidentally, this is one scorpion talking to the other. I don't know which one's speaking. I don't know if it's relevant. I'm going to assume I'm going to call the one at the top, the Scorpion 1, the one underneath Scorpion 2. Let's say that Scorpion 2 is talking to Scorpion 1. Coincidentally, I've always wanted a tattoo of David Dimbleby on my back.
Oh, dear, Matt, what are you like?
Matt!
How does he think of it?
Think of that? He is brilliant. Matt! Oh, Matt! You do it every single time. Joe's in Letchworth. Morning, Joe.
Morning, Ian. How are you?
Well, Joe, I'm kind of all right. I'm very close. I'm very close to treating myself to a brand new laptop computer. Very close.
Oh.
I'm eyeing one up online, and I keep going. I keep thinking, no. Let's just wait a little bit. Let me make sure I want it. But I'm very close.
Well, are you going to thinking about going for a tablet? Because if you go for a Windows tablet, mate, they can do almost the same now.
No.
More portable.
No. Tablets are silly. Tablets are silly. I tell you why. Because I want a proper keyboard. Oh, yeah, you can buy one. No, I want a computer. I want a computer where I can put DVDs in and burn DVDs and watch DVDs and play games and do computery stuff, not just watch Netflix, which is all a tablet does.
And you can also use it for your radio journalism, because you can type, you can edit with all your audio programs and everything, can't you? So there you go.
Well, you're being serious when you say radio journalism. Do you hear that, Catherine?
Yeah, it's funny.
No,
that's
that's
on the phone.
No, that's not Matt. What he's saying is true.
Oh, you do that, did he?
Yeah.
Well, I've got a bit of a claim to not Matt exactly, but my dad does cartoons occasionally in certain newspapers.
Hang on. Whoa. What certain newspapers?
He's had a few published in the Sun.
He doesn't do Striker, does he, or George and Lynn? Does he do George and Lynn?
No.
I used to like that.
Remember that?
Are they still going, George and Lynn? Let's turn to the page. At the moment, it's Striker or Hagar the Horrible. That's it. Oh, no George and Lynn. I used to enjoy the...
What happened to George and Lynn?
Well, I think they finally put some clothes on and realised it wasn't 1977 anymore. Tell us one.
Tell us what?
One of your dad's cartoons.
Oh, I can't remember. This was years ago. He still does them occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Ken Amos. When you'll see the signature.
Oh, we're googling him. We're googling him as we speak. Joe, one thing I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, okay? But one thing I want to run past you.
Yeah, go on.
Tony Robinson, Baldrick, Time Team.
Yeah.
He's been knighted. He is now Sir Tony Baldrick Robinson.
Sir Baldrick.
What do you think about that?
I don't think Blackadder's going to be very happy.
I think it is the most... Listen, I like Tony Robinson. I think he seems like a nice enough bloke. But really, he was in a comedy 15 years ago, so was I, and he digs holes in gardens. So can I if I wanted to. How does that get you a knighthood these days?
Ian, you did the 11 o'clock show. That doesn't deserve a knighthood. I did watch you, though, and you were very funny.
Sorry, Joe. The line seems to be a little bit bad. What did you just say?
I said you were. I did used to watch you in the 11 o'clock show. And you were a bit naughty.
Yeah, the line's broken up, Joe. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to go now. Unbelievable. Who's it dissing me this time of the morning? For goodness, I don't come here to be insulted. Where do you usually go? I go to my house.
Hello there, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Fred. You've called in about crazy cars.
I am. Well,
no, it's not crazy cars, it's car confusion. Call me now.
Right.
Thanks, Fred.
OK, thank you. Right, go on, Fred. What is it?
I used to work in post offices around London doing maintenance work.
Yeah.
So I'd start at 6 o'clock in the evening when they shut, and I'd finish anywhere between sort of midnight and 2 o'clock.
Lovely.
And the licensing laws had just changed, and they were allowed to open 24 hours.
Beautiful.
So I thought I'd stop and get myself a couple of cans of beer on the way home to have a nice little drink before I went to bed.
A little kestrel treat, of course. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Fantastic. Yeah. So I saw this neon sign. I thought, excellent, 24-hour off licence. So I pulled up in the bus stop outside the shop in my transit van.
Yeah.
Went to climb out of the driver's door. I'd opened the door and I was halfway out. I looked over and this girl had got in.
Oh, hello.
She was extremely good looking. She had a very, very short skirt on.
Oh, hey.
Yes, and I thought my luck was in.
Yeah.
Anyway, turns out she was a prostitute and thought I'd stop to pick her up.
Well, that's very fortunate. Did she not even tap on the window and she just got in?
She just climbed in the van.
And what happened then?
Well, I explained very politely that that wasn't why I'd stopped, threw her out the van and left without my beer very quickly.
Oh, mate. Well, Fred, thank you very much for that. Catherine, is this really the calibre of calls we want? Someone talking about prostitutes getting into their vans?
Car confusion. Call me now. 08459 455 555.
Paul's in Biggleswade. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Ian. Hang on. Wait a minute. I'm just standing up because I always like to stand up when I address you, sir.
Correct. That's the correct way for it to be. I'm going to remain seated and I'm going to look at you with a look of contempt.
Thank you. Treat me as a serf. My Tony Robinson story, years and years ago, I'm going back about 10, 15 years, maybe a little bit more. My work used to take me into Adam Brooks Hospital, into the operating theatres there. Now, years and years ago, BBC used to do a programme, I think it was called Hospital Watch or something.
I remember that, yes, Hospital Watch.
Well, Tony Robinson was a presenter for some of those, and I was in theatres one day, and Tony Robinson was having to do a bit to camera. And you know the little paper hats you have to wear when you're in an operating theatre to keep your hair out of things? Well, they wanted him to put on a paper hat, but he had to have the makeup department come and do it for him.
What? The makeup department had to come and put a paper hat on him?
Yeah, they had to come and put a paper hat on.
These actors. These lovey-dovey... And now he wants a knighthood. Imagine, when was the last time he killed a dragon or rescued a princess with long hair? Never happened, mate.
No. I mean, sorry, to me, if you get a knighthood, you ought to be able to put your hat on straight yourself, shouldn't you?
Yes.
A qualification is you don't give knighthoods to people that can't put paper hats on, for goodness sake.
Oh, Paul. I think Paul's just made the podcast this week. Paul's just made the podcast. Thank you very much. Paul's cool. He's got a good point. You don't give knighthoods to people who can't put paper hats on. You simply don't. 08459 455
Car confusion, call me now. 08459 455 555.
I just think that car confusion is a very limiting...
No. Where have you left yours? Did you get in the wrong one? Did you press your thing and it went off over the other side of the car park?
That doesn't even mean...
Car confusion. Call me now. 08459 455 555. Kelly Betts had car confusion this morning, didn't you, Kelly Betts?
I did. I opened my door to get in my car and it wasn't there. I'd left it at work.
Confusing.
But... you girls
happens.
Okay.
Car
there's...
Facebook. Lisa Hunter. What confuses me is bad parking, especially in supermarkets where some people park a car like it's been abandoned, I hear. Something else that confuses me is people who've apparently passed their driving tests yet do not know what a no entry sign is and then proceed to drive the wrong way in a one-way street and then have a completely sav out you when you dare... They completely sav out you when you dare to tell them they're in the wrong.
Sarah.
That's Facebook confusion.
That's Facebook. That's not car confusion. That's
Here's one.
Car
Ruth
annoyance.
Roniansky on Facebook. My husband is partially sighted and has problems seeing other cars, especially when it's dark. This has led to him several times getting in the wrong car and frightening the occupants, especially when it's an elderly person. Oh, dear.
You're now producer of this show. I've had some great producers since I've worked here at BBC Three Counties Radio.
Have you ever done car confusion? Call me now, 08459 455 555.
We've had Laura, who was excellent, producer Laura, producer Tara, who was wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you really think... sorry?
You've missed me out?
Yeah, I'm talking about the good ones.
You should ask yourself why you go through them so quickly.
And why am I still here?
Yeah.
Do you think you're meeting the high standards that they have set for this show?
They haven't done car confusion, have they?
Call me now.
08459 455 555.
On the subject of the golly costume that's being sold on Amazon, and it's a full outfit that you climb into. Okay, you wear it. So it's a black mask, it's a black curly wig, it's the black and white striped trousers. It's a full thing. Is that appropriate, really? Dennis, what do you think?
No, it's not. It goes back to slavery. Slavery in America. When they used to think that black people were thick. That was the idea. And so they had the black and white minstrel shows to show that they were happy people but thick. And that is totally racial. And why they bring it back now, I do not know. Because, after all, there's no such thing as black and white. You've never seen a black man. You've seen a very dark man. You don't see white people. You're not like sheets. We're all shades of the different brown.
Catherine's quite pale, but I take your point. Listen to some of these Facebook comments, Dennis. Peter says, oh my golly, what next? Beverly says, how ridiculous. It's just a bit of silliness in dressing up. We take these things too seriously. And Julie says, surely, in my opinion, this is fine labelled as a golly costume. It would be inappropriate if it was labelled as a black person costume. They don't seem to be too upset by it, Dennis.
Well, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with them as well, then.
Have a listen to this. I don't know if you heard Colin. Colin called up earlier on, and we talked about this. This is what Colin had to say.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Wow. So you don't think it's inappropriate for a white, middle-aged man to wear an outfit that has a black curly wig, a black face with a white mouth and eye holes, black gloves, white and black stripy trousers, and a black jacket? You don't think that's inappropriate?
No, I don't. I think it's just part of our history, and if we can't live up to our history, then there's something far wrong with this country.
Well, but also, would it be appropriate for someone to dress up as, for example, a slave, a black slave?
I personally wouldn't.
But would it be okay? It's part of our history, and if we can't live up to our history, as your argument, then where are we?
Well, you're absolutely right. Yeah, why not dress up as a slave?
So it would be appropriate. It would be appropriate to go to a fancy dress party dressed up as a black slave.
Yeah. I think
Dennis, what do you make of that?
That's ridiculous, quite frankly. We should be living our history down, not up. We try to live it down. We did these things to people. Look, when I was very small, I had a black doll, and he was dressed like a little lad, and I thought it was marvellous. That is why I have never, ever looked at a person and said, well, don't like him because of his colour. I've got friends of all shades, and I hope they realise I am a friend.
Mishaps with your car, fun things with your car. This was Catherine's ridiculous topic that she's come up with this morning.
Car confusion, call me now, 08459 455 555.
Why?
Jane JJ Johnson says, I always try to park near a trolley park.
Done that one. It's not car confusion, it's just car stupidity.
I always put a sticker in my car when I had a common car.
To say
so
what?
I knew it was mine, I didn't try to get in other people's.
Yeah, there's a way of identifying your car. It's the registration plate.
Yeah, but sometimes you just,
put a sticker in your
car. For a blue car.
Do you want to talk to Jane? Because I've really got no time for this. Speak to Jane in Aylesbury.
Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for calling me now on the subject of car confusion. What happened to you?
What's wrong with Ian this morning?
I don't know. He's in a right funny mood, as usual, to be honest. Monday. So what happened to you, Jane?
I had a red Nissan, right, and I changed it for a grey one, and I went shopping, and I was looking for the old car.
Yeah, I've done that.
It's easily done because your brain is so tuned to your other car that I think I'm about 20 minutes around this car park trying to find this car that I didn't have.
Oh, Jane, what are you like? Ian, see? Car confusion.
It does happen, Ian.
It does.
It does.
Happened to Jane?
I'm probably not the only one that's done that either.
I bet you're not. 08459 455 555 if it's happened to you.
Andy says, oh, Andy, this is a lady, Andy. What seems to be the problem with it? Anyone who takes offence at the costume really needs to get a life. You don't... And now this is where her point falls down on the floor and rolls down the gutter. You don't see Royal Mail going on strike for Postman Pat costumes or nurses in uproar along with monks and vicars. I don't know if postmen have been subjected to hundreds of years of abuse, slavery, violence, things like that, whereas black people, I think they weren't they? I'm not really the right person, I guess. I guess we need to speak to a black person on the show, because I can't really communicate what a golly's not aimed at me, so I don't know. Steve's in Dunstable. Steve, what do you reckon?
Morning. It's our sense of humour, the British way of sense of humour. You cannot tell us how people how to think and what they should buy and what they should not buy. It's the way we are. It's a bit of harmless fun. And as for the slavery, why is it always blacks? The whites were sent first before the blacks. Why is it always the whites that are racist against blacks? Why not blacks against racist against whites? It does happen. It happens as much as the other way around. So why do you portray on the media there's always the white person being racist? When you get called a white honky, you just laugh your head off. We call them something else, and we're up for racism. You know what I mean? It's one-way traffic in this country. Simple as that. Slavery, you want to know your history about slavery, because whites was it.
I haven't been called a white honky since 1982.
Well, there you go then.
And
you're a white honky. Do you feel offended by that?
And also, at no point this morning have I said that... I've not said that slavery is not a two-way street.
No, well, but you might not have said that, right? But if you listen to your show yourself, it's perceived that way. And all across the media, when a black person, a race person is murdered by a white person, for some reason, it seems to be a racial incident. But when a white person gets murdered by the other way, oh no, it's never, them words are never used. In the same context.
Steve, yes, they are. I've heard of white people being murdered by people of other colours, and it being described as a racial motive.
Yeah, but it's not many. It's always outnumbered. It's the way the media perceives it. The way the people perceive what.
So every time, Steve, we do a story that's that is implying there is perhaps a racism from white people towards black people. We have to counter that by saying, but just to remind you guys, black people can be racist as well. We have to counter that. I don't think we need to, Steve, because most people are intelligent enough to know that happens. We don't need to be reminded that black and Asian and Chinese people can be racist towards other races, because we know
that.
We know it happens.
Why do you always push it to the one way? Right, let's go back to the gollywog. Right, it's a bit of harmless fun. If people get offended, everyone gets offended about something. Other people might not, and that's just the way it is. That's just life. And then, as for the slavery, the whites went first, then the blacks followed, as far as I know. So even the whites should have a chip on the shoulder.
But blacks black people have suffered more in more recent times. Apartheid, segregation in the United States.
They're holding hatred.
These are all within living memory.
Yeah, but what are we supposed to do about it? We can't pussyfoot around people just because they've had this, because they've had that. We've got to crack on with life. At the end of the day,
and so by cracking on with life, you would dress up as in a black costume that was Steve. Let me finish. So to celebrate and moving on with life, you would dress up in a black costume whose origins are derived from the subjugation of black people.
It's nothing to do with that. It's actual just having a laugh. It's nothing to do. There's no direct link in the sense of humour. This time, the time's moved on. That was the past. We are the present. We're having a laugh. You're at a party. You know, someone comes with something else.
Maybe you can help me here, Steve, because I'm struggling a bit. What's funny about that costume?
No, I'm just saying it's a gollywog. So what?
But what's
on Jam
you're saying it's a bit of fun. So what's funny about that costume?
Well, it just is. We make fun of people. We make fun of every nation.
We make fun of black people.
Yeah, well, it's making fun, I suppose. It's making fun of... It's like other costumes. You make fun of other people in other costumes. But you don't hear anyone ranting and raving about that.
Give me an example. What other people...
I don't know. I don't wear costumes.
Well, no, you've raised it, so you must have an example in your head.
Doctors' uniforms. I don't know, an ugly uniform.
Doctors haven't, they haven't been subjected to the same treatment that black people have in the last...
Why is it always the blacks? What about the whites? We've been tortured and murdered in the gone past, but we don't have a go. Oh, you can't wear that uniform. Sorry. Oh, lardy-da, you've hurt my feelings.
But the gollywog costume was originated to make fun and demean black people. That's what that costume represents.
Well, the majority of the people who probably wear it, right, because at the end of the day, I'd say I'm probably too old, but if I did wear it, it'd have nothing to do with the fact of where it originates from, right? It's just there as a bit of fun, and that's the difference. People of this day and age probably don't know half of what you're on about and what I'm on about. They're in a different world to me.
What about going to a fancy dress party as... no, all right, as Hitler. Let's start with Hitler.
Go on, and another one. What's wrong with dressing up as that? It's a free country.
Bit of fun. Okay, let's move it slightly then. How about dressing up for a fancy dress party as someone who was in a concentration camp?
Whatever.
Is that a bit of fun?
It can be to other people.
To dress up as someone who was in a concentration camp.
It's the context of the party. It's the context why you're wearing it. It's down to the actual person. What reason?
So if someone dress up in the stripy...
They're not going to wear it because they go, right, it's because it originates from black slavery.
So someone dressed up in the blue and white striped outfits that look like pyjamas, maybe with a star on the front and a number, for a fancy dress party, that'd be all right. It's a bit of fun because it's out of context.
Yeah, and you think, why not? It's not against the law to dress up, is it? Is it against the law to dress up how you like?
No, Steve, it's not. Thank you very much indeed. Remind me not to go to any of Steve's fancy dress parties. He set a very low standard. We're also talking about confusing car situations that you have been involved with.
Oh, dear.
Sorry?
Rita Cullingham. Years ago, I had an Astra, very common in Luton where I worked.
Yeah.
I worked nights for Royal Mail, and early one morning I got into my car to go home. After a few minutes of adjusting the mirror and waiting for it to warm up, another postman knocked on the window.
Yes.
He thanked me for warming his car up and then asked if I was stealing it. No, it's my car. No, he said, yours is there, pointing to an identical Astra next to his one.
How does she get in it?
Well, maybe the keys all work.
I don't understand. The thing I like about phone-ins is when they generate debate, conversation, funny stories.
Nah, this is just like a featurette. Car confusion. It happens. Call me now. 08459 455 555.
Here's a question, Catherine. This is going to sound really stupid. This is basic English.
Okay.
And I was confused yesterday when they were talking about this gentleman who was found in the bag.
Right.
They said that he was found in the bag, and Kev's just used this phrase as well. He was found in the bag, but there was no sign of a third party. Right, you got that?
Yes.
Who's the second party?
The bag?
No. Who could be the second party? So let's say, right, I'm at home and I've got a bruise on my head. Let's put this gentleman to one side. I've got home a bruise on my head. The police come. There's no sign of a third party involvement. Who's the second party?
The police?
No, they're the fourth party. So I'm the first party. The person who may or may not have attacked me is the third party. What's the second party? It's not the cat, is it? Is it the cat?
Is there someone in between you and the person that attacks you? Maybe someone that tries to prevent it?
There was a deliberate reason, Kelly, why I aimed this question and why I'm looking solely at Catherine Boyle, because I no disrespect, but nah. Catherine?
I can't really help you out. I think it might be that the police consider themselves the second party at the scene.
Is it like...
And then the third party would be someone else...
Is it like first person and third person, which is something I'd never quite understood? Mm-hmm. You're really confused. I thought you'd know and laugh at me. Oh, good, I'm not so... 08459 455 555.
The third person is because it's I, you, he, she.
Right.
OK, so in grammar...
What's the first person? No,
I.
What's the third person?
He, she.
What's the second person?
You.
So I'm the second party. I'm the first party.
Are you the first party to yourself, and then if somebody else... but the second party is you... as well?
Kelly, I'm going to be honest. Just seriously, leave this one for the grown-ups. OK, is that all right?
Yeah.
Thanks. So, I know I don't want this to drag on more than it has to. If I am the first... So, if I have a bruise on my head, and I'm the first person, I go to the police... They say there is no evidence of a third person. Who's the second person? Is it the police? Kelly, you really... I'm going to let you have a go at this now, Kelly, because you think you've got it.
I think I've got it. The person...
But you haven't, yes.
Yeah, who invented the whole third party, second party, first party thing, couldn't count, got confused.
You were just quoting De La Soul a minute ago, me, myself and I.
Oh, yeah, so me is the first person, myself is the second person, so you're basically the same person, and then the police are the third person. No, the criminal is the third person. No.
Catherine.
Let me take you back to your French class.
Oh.
Bonjour.
Je is the first thing. If you were trying to manipulate the verbs, right, you remember those tables you had to learn. I, you, he, she.
Yes, yeah.
They.
Like it.
Okay?
Like it.
So think of them. Stop thinking about them as a person. Think of them as a list. It's the word I, the word you.
She's acting this out.
The word he, she.
Right.
He, she is the third in that list.
She's holding an apple between her thumb and forefinger on her left hand as well.
I'm being the teacher.
Yeah. Ooh.
Clearly. So, third one down, he, she. So, second one down, you. First one, I.
So hang on, I'm the first and the second person.
That's what I said.
No, we're not talking about you in particular. We're talking about the words.
But but it's me.
I am first.
I am first.
You.
Who?
Second.
Me. So you're the first person. You weren't even in the house when I got a bruise. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you why I invited someone into my house who bruised me.
I is you.
Yeah.
As in Ian.
You speak in proper English,
yes,
Kelly,
so
with the BBC.
Just say, OK, I is me. You would be somebody else.
Can you speak
present.
proper English?
Oh.
I is me, I is you. For goodness sake. I am he and you are she.
I am I.
Oh, for goodness sake. 08459 455 555. Can someone explain it to me? I just don't get it.
What, you as in you or I?
Oh, for goodness sakes. I don't want to dwell on this too much. I don't understand it. And it was yesterday listening to 5 Live. They were talking about this poor gentleman who was found in a bag. Not to make light of it, but I think it illustrates the point better. He was the first person, this gentleman that was found dead in a bag, and the police said there was no evidence of a third person or third party. So who was the second party? 08459 455 555. Have I got you all scratching your heads as well? This is the kind of thing that drives me insane. Really upsets me. We've got a text here. Hang on, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Ian, the answer to your question, first party is the victim, second party is the act or crime itself. That's not true. That's not true. The third party is the person who commits the second party, unless it's an accident, in which case the second party becomes the third party also. Or it is an act of God, in which the act is always the first part. No! I think we can agree the third party is the baddie here, OK? First and second party, 08459 455 555. So who's the second party? And Catherine, when I mentioned it to you, I thought you'd laugh at me.
No.
And say, oh, you silly sausage, it's this. But you're confused as well.
I am, and I consider myself a fairly intelligent person. And I've studied languages.
You have studied languages.
But I couldn't answer it,
What?
so I brought out the big guns.
What big guns have you got?
Fiona McPherson, who's the senior editor of the Oxford English Dictionary.
Oh, Fiona McPherson, thank you for joining us this morning.
You're very welcome.
Does the question I'm posing make sense?
Yes, I'd never really thought about it, and yes, it does. And while I'm not 100% sure I know the exact answer, I have a plausible answer which makes sense.
OK, give us your plausible answer, yes.
Well, I think this terminology began in law. So you had the first and second parties being whoever, the main person, say, being accused of something or whatever, and the law as the second party. And then that got carried over into the sort of insurance realm. So if I drive into a tree, I'm the first party, and the second party would be my insurance company or whoever's insuring me. If I drive into somebody else, they become the third party, with the first and second parties still being the same. And I think it's just really carried over into more general language to mean another agency, somebody else, as you said.
If I believe I've been attacked in my home, I'm the first party.
Yes.
The third party would be any potential perpetrator of that attack.
I would think so, yes.
And the police would be the second party.
Well, I don't know, not necessarily. I mean, I'm not sure. They might be, but I think really it's just become generalised and used now to mean an other person without necessarily there having to be parties 1, 2 and 3, if you see what I mean.
It must be fun doing your job.
It is quite fun, and you get unexpected questions at 8:40 in the morning. So
listen, I appreciate you coming on. You've been a very, very good sport. Are you the person that has to decide which new words go into the dictionary?
I'm one of them, yeah, but that is part of my job, yeah.
Is there a team of you? Do you kind of have dinners where you sit around going, right, how about this one, twerking? Anyone?
I wish it was as civilised as that. There is a team, but we have such sort of strong criteria and guidelines written down that we each make the decisions, but it's based on whether there's evidence for it. So and we don't sit round debating and getting into fights about it either.
And is twerking in the dictionary?
Twerk is in one of our dictionaries. It's not yet in the OED, which is the historical dictionary that I work on, but it is in some of our smaller current English dictionaries, yes.
Absolutely fascinating. Fiona, thank you for being such a good sport, and hopefully we can talk again.
Very welcome, I'd love that.
Graham is up next on the subject of car things that have happened to you that are not apparently that fun.
No. Car confusion, call me now. Hi, Graham.
You talk to him, go on then.
Hello, Graham. Hello, Graham.
I'm here.
Hello, there was a bit of fader confusion. Tell me your story.
Right, back in, I think it was about 1982.
Sounds fun already.
I was in my car, and there was an Escort, and you could push the handle on the driver's door up, so you could just slam the door and not have to lock it. And as I stood up after I'd done that to shut the door, the keys fell out of my pocket, and as the door slammed, the keys were on the driver's seat. My brother got out a screwdriver, just stuck it in, turned the lock and opened it.
Oh.
And another thing for you.
Please.
Back in, this was in 1984, I had a Mini Cooper S, 1971. It was registered down in Thames Ditton in Surrey. And I pulled into a car park, and as my brother and I walked away, my brother noticed the car beside it was the next consecutive number.
Oh.
Mine was ELN 907J, and this was ELN 908J.
Car siblings.
What's the chances of that happening?
Graham, thank you very much indeed. And you've just proven, Ian, car confusion happens.
It does.
Even in the 80s. 08459 455 555 was the number you've been calling. Thank you, listeners.
You expect me to come back in after that? After you've killed... Listen, this show could be classed as a warm-up show for JVS. We've just killed the audience stone flat with...
What are you talking about? They're revved. They're pumped.
Any air that may have been in their tyres was completely let down by Graham then. It was a car...
He was parked next to the car with a consecutive number plate. Are you not listening?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, that's not confusing. We're not talking about car semi-coincidences. That's what he's called it. He's called the car semi-coincidences hotline. He wants BBC Surrey for that. No, we were doing car confusion. There was nothing confusing about that. The only confusing thing was, how on earth did we let that call go on the radio and give not just one story, but 2 stories?
Hey, you listen to me. If Graham calls, Graham gets on. That's the rule.
Would you like to apologise to the listeners?
No.
Unbelievable. I'm not going to apologise because it wasn't my fault. If anyone... I tell you what, I'm going to get Catherine to write you all sorry notes after the show.
And then do an end bit. So, thanks for listening.
Yep.
Bye.
Can we just use what you just did then?
I'd rather you do it. Just do a quick hi, thanks.
Hi, thanks.
Thanks for listening to this free download from BBC Three Counties Radio, your local radio station for beds, hearts and bucks, on FM, AM, digital radio, and online at bbc.co.uk/3counties.